Get that PSA gray, watch your treasures turn to gold. In every box there's a story to unfold. Hunting for that gem worth its weight in gold. Sharks cards specialized, ain't no need to fear. Whether you're a rookie or pro, we're right here. Listen to the show, dropping every other week. What cards to grab? Let's help your game peak. From the new releases to the classics that we chase, we'll guide you through the maze, put smiles on your face. Sharks cards, flip for gold. Grading that PSA, watch your profits unfold. Whether you're fresh on the block or a skilled veteran, join us in the hustle, your journey's just begun. Every card's a chance, so don't let it pass. We scout the market, find the diamonds in the grass. The thrill of the hunt, it's a passion.
All right, welcome in. It says I'm live on Instagram. However, it is not showing me the Instagram screen, so I apologize if you're watching on Instagram. I will not see that you are on. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Seems very strange. Hey, Joel, what's up? Welcome in. Try one last time here to see if I can get this to come up here, but it says I'm live. I don't know. All right, well, we'll go. If we're on live on Instagram, great. If not, they'll have to watch it on YouTube. We'll put a link on Instagram. So welcome in, guys. We are just going to be talking about a recap of the National today, a little bit of our experiences, see what we can share with you guys. No plays today. Tune back in a couple of weeks. We'll have a bunch of plays for you again in 2 weeks. Football season starting. Very exciting. Had the first preseason game took place. Chargers looked good, but it's preseason, so I don't get too excited over that. However, the very interesting statistic, I don't know if you saw this, Bo, no team that has won the Pro Bowl game or the
Hall of Fame game.
No team that's won the Hall of Fame game has ever won a playoff game in the same year.
Oh, wow.
So the Chargers are either going to not make the playoffs, not win a playoff game, or break the curse, one of the above. So I think they break the curse because I think the Chargers are going to be pretty good this year. They added some nice weapons, and I think Herbert's going to take them to the next level this year. But anyways, why don't we start out? Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your experience at the National?
Okay. So it was my first time to go. I've been wanting to go for years. I remember back in the day when I used to sell Beckett baseball card monthly at elementary school, and they'd have the advertisements for that, but I've been wanting to go forever. So it was my first time. My plan number one is I'd been holding on to all my best football stuff throughout the year to go to sell. I just wanted to make a cash transaction. And, I was kind of nervous. I, didn't really know. And I just basically sold all of it. I sold 95% of it to one person within minutes of me putting it down I went up in the VIP room a couple hours before trade night was supposed to start. And I was thinking that I would just get my spot and stay up there until trade night, but they ended up kicking everybody out. But I'd already sold everything, so I didn't really have to worry about anything. I think it's Sky B Cards. He's got a pretty big YouTube channel.
Scotty B?
Sky B?
Sky B or Scotty B?
Sky,
okay.
Scotty.
Scotty B, I know. Sky B, I've never heard of.
Yeah, some guy asked me if they could put a microphone on me, and they just had a necklace microphone, and then the guy was wheeling and dealing with me, and I was kind of like, sorry, I can't do that. I think my offers were good, but I was pretty good at negotiating, and I got what I wanted out of it. There was two of my cards that he thought were too high price, so the deal was for everything except for those two, and then I moved the other two later on a cash trade. So it was great. I did it so quickly. I thought it was going to take hours or the whole weekend to get rid of everything, and boom, it was done. Everything was a PSA 10 liquid, mostly football. There were a handful of Cooper Flags. There was a silver Prism, Cameron Brink. I had 3 of those Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year cards, but everything else was football. And so all that worked out. I felt like the VIP room was the place to be. I was having a hard it got so crowded on the show floor, and I felt like prices were high for the most part. And it was kind of hard to get negotiations going with dealers down there. But the VIP room, this big giant room with tables, and everybody would have their stuff out on the table, and the prices were good. Everybody was really friendly. I think I spent 75-80% of the money I spent was up there in the VIP room versus out down on the show floor. One guy had 2 big giant cases, and he had a whole bunch of women's basketball stuff that his prices were really low. Like I got a sweet deal on this numbered Juju Watkins jersey autograph card.
Sweet card.
Yeah, I got a great deal on that. I submitted 34 of the cards I bought to PSA on Sunday before I left. I didn't do the Juju because of it being a thicker card, and I just thought I would wait on that one. And I mainly bought basketball to try to grade and flip later. I'm doing some soccer stuff, which was hard. My number one regret was I was unable to. There was another show. It was about 5-10 miles away. That was nothing but soccer, and I intended to go, and then it just never worked out. And it looked like it was an
you never made it there.
Never made it.
The last time when you left me at the show hall and said you were heading back, you were going to rest up so you could go over there that night. You never made it over, huh? Yeah, well, I have a buddy that I used to work with that lives in Chicago for the summer, and we went into the city to have a restaurant at one of my former photography students' restaurant in the city. And the address for the SoCo show, there's a Chicago address and then the same exact address for another town. So we went downtown Chicago and the place did not exist, but then, it just ended up being a big pain in the rear. So I did not make it to the soccer thing. I did get a real nice, I got a sweet deal on this numbered sky blue Topps Finest Lamine Yamal rookie that on a trade that I did. Nice. Yeah, so Joel is in the comments saying he loves him some Juju. Joel is another one of my friends that likes talking women basketball, so you'll get along real well with Joel. So my experience was I think this is about my 18th or 19th time being to a national. I did not go to Cleveland last year, but I was at Chicago 2 years ago. And I thought this was the best national I've ever been to. It certainly was the biggest one. It's a bit overwhelming when you walk in. I mean, that show can gobble you up in a hurry. They had the VIP lounge upstairs. They had overflow because they couldn't fit all the tables downstairs. So there was overflow upstairs. I think there was 1,000 vendors downstairs, and then there were about 200 upstairs because I think it went to like 1,200 or so. And the upstairs, I thought the National kind of stubbed their toe on that. They had plenty of room to spread out, and they crammed those aisles so tight that it was very unenjoyable up there. It was hard to look at cards. It was hard to make any deals. You're constantly getting moved and bumped and kicked and a backpack hitting you while you're trying to talk to somebody. So I thought the National was a fantastic show this year. One area of improvement if anybody from the National is listening or watching, would be fix that overflow upstairs. That was terrible. That might have been the worst I've ever seen at a National in terms of, had I been paying $3,200 for my dealer spot and I'd have been up there, I'd have been wild. But the dealers I was talking to, a lot of money flowing. I would agree with you. Just like a lot of the bigger shows that you go to, everybody was priced up pretty high. I didn't walk up to any dealers and thought, oh, wow, they're really reasonably priced. I thought everything seemed a bit high, which is pretty normal for a big show like this. You can always come, the old adage, you can always come down, you can't go up. But the bigger thing, the bigger takeaway that I noticed this year was there were very, very little. I mean, the tables would negotiate. I probably tried to negotiate with about 30 different tables, which isn't many when you consider there's 1,200 of them there. But the small sample size that I was negotiating, I was trying to negotiate on either a 55 Clemente or a 55 Aaron. I brought enough money to buy the Clemente or the Aaron. I did not bring enough cash to do both. I did not bring anything to sell. I was strictly on a mission trying to find a nice copy of one of those two cards to try and finish off my 55 top set. I was successful. If you follow the Instagram, I was successful in buying a 55 Aaron. I ended up getting it raw. I probably made a mistake. I walked away from a graded copy that would have been a really good crack and resubmit. I was $10 apart from making a deal. My son was like, "Dad, what are you doing? It's only $10." And I felt like I had the upper hand, so I walked away. Next day I went back in the morning and he had sold it already. So kicked myself a little bit there. I should have listened to my son and spent the extra $10 and got that one. Instead, I got that one I could have had for 310. It was a BVG 3, but it had really good centering on it. The corners weren't great, but the eye appeal, because the centering was really good, was good. I was on the lookout. I was hoping to find a raw copy that had some flaws that I could fix and do some vintage repair on before submitting to try and increase value. Or I was looking for a off-brand, non-PSA, non-SGC, because SGC doesn't cross very well vintage to PSA. So I was looking for a Beckett or a CSG or a raw of those two cards. And I ended up, walked up to a table. It was unexpected because I was not looking for it. I found that he had an Aaron. I asked to see it. I looked at it. It had some rubber band marks on it. It had two really dark black marks on the front, probably from the rubber bands. It had from the rubber bands, it had damage on both top and bottom edges. Corners were a little rounded, but the color was good. Centering was okay. Not as good as the centering on the other one, but it was not bad. He had it listed at $300. Fair, as most of the raws sell between $250 and $300 if they're not in poor condition. But I wasn't confident that I could fix the edges from the rubber band. I thought I could get the black marks off, but I wasn't confident about the edges because they were pretty significant damage. So I was a little hesitant. I asked him what kind of room he had, and he was like, the last raw was 281 or something like that. So he knocked $20 off and went to 280. And I was like, so I'm just there looking. And I was with, you got to meet him. I was with Steve Caladesi and his son. And Steve saw a 66 Ernie Banks card there for I think it was $90 list price, and his dad, I think it is, collects Cubs, and he was like, "Oh, I wonder what I could get that for." And he started looking up market movers. And while we're standing there looking, I look over to the right, and he had modern cards, and he had what caught my eye was a color match orange laser Joe Burrow PSA 10. Yeah, Joel the Hitman, Steve the Hitman. And so I'm looking at it, and I thought $400 sounded pretty reasonable. So I quick grabbed my phone and I looked, and the 30-day average was 400, so he was priced on the 30-day average. However, there were two sales during the National. So there was one that happened Wednesday night of the National, and there was one that happened the night before. This was Saturday. So on Friday, there was another sale that happened. And the two sales that happened during the National were $465 and $480, which brought the 30-day average up. Prior to that, the most recent sale before that was $280, or I'm sorry, $380. So, so I'm looking at that, and I said to Steve, I said, "Gosh, $400 with the two most recent comps, $465 and $480. You don't see that very often." So I started talking to the guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I priced all my cards on Monday and Tuesday before the National, and somehow that was a good deal, and it was still sitting in the showcase." So I said, "All right, what kind of a deal?" I wasn't crazy about your deal you offered me on the Hank Aaron, but what are we looking at for if I took all three cards, the Ernie Banks, the Laser Burrow, and the Hank Aaron? And he said, I think he countered, he was going to be like, gave like $50 off roughly. And I said to the Hitman, I'm like, "Hey, what's the Ernie Banks worth to you?" Because I'm like, that was just gonna be my my negotiator, or that was gonna be my discount. So I'm like, "Whatever it's worth to you, let me know." And he's like, "I don't know, how about $60?" So I was like, "Okay." So I said to the guy, I said, "Tell you what, I'll give you the 400 for the Burrow. I'll give you the 300 for the
Aaron.
Hank. I want you to throw in the $90 Ernie Banks." So I was looking for a $90 discount on the three. And he looked at it for a little bit. He held out his hand and he said, "You got a deal." So I got all three cards for $700. Steve gave me the $60 for the Ernie Banks. So essentially I got them for $240. Or I'm sorry, I essentially got the Hank Aaron for $240 because I'm okay at $400 on the Burrow. So I have $640 in those two cards. I soaked, cleaned, polished, rubbed, buffed. I spent a while on that Hank Aaron today, and it is currently sitting in the pads trying to dry. It's going to take those vintage cards. It takes me about a week to 10 days to get them completely dry to where they don't curl or roll up. So we'll see what it looks like when it comes out of pads. But I was pretty happy with how well I was able to get the edges to come back. And I got about 80% of the black marks off. At this point, I'm thinking it probably went from a PSA 1, might be a 3, more than likely a 2 or a 2.5. I'm hoping it dries out and I can take another run at those black marks. I'd like to get it to a 3, as I'm trying to put the set together where everything is a 3 or better. I do have about 11 graded cards in that set already, and everything is 3 or higher. And the raw cards I'm getting are all, I'm trying to get them where I think they're very good or better. So when I get that set put together, it should probably be an $8,000 to $10,000 set at that very good or better. The Clemente is going to be the last challenge for me now. That's going to be probably a $1,200 to $1,500 card. In a PSA 3, they go for about $2,800. So I'm going to have to do a, like a Beckett or a CSG or something, or find a raw copy. There again, I'm going to look for something that can maybe be, conditioned, reconditioned, and maybe help me get back to a 3, because that's a big card. But if I don't have it by next year's national, I'll get it next year at the national, because at the national, I would say it was about 50% vintage. I don't know if you would agree with me with that, but it's probably 50% vintage, 20%, and then the breakdown was probably close to 20% baseball. I would say maybe 10% football, 10% basketball, and there was a smattering of maybe 1 or 2% was Pokemon. There was a little bit of women's basketball. There was a little bit of Star Wars. There was a little bit of WWE. Wrestling seemed hot. I will say that wrestling cards seemed very, very hot. There just wasn't a lot of them there, with the exception of Hulk Hogan after he passed. I think every table you looked at seemed to have something Hulk Hogan related, which was crazy to see all those Hulk Hogan cards and autographs and things of that nature. But the prices, if you got to enough tables, most of the prices were about 10 to 20% over comps, and then you had to try and negotiate down from there, whether or not you could or couldn't. Typically at a local show, the reason I like shows is because somebody will, if comp is $100, and they sell it on eBay, they're going to get 80. They're going to clear $85. So typically, if you pay 90% of comps for cash, they're willing to come off 10% of comps. Not at the national. There were very few people. Most of them were at comps. You could negotiate the comps, or 5 to 10% over comps was about the best deal you could get. But then, as you mentioned, there were so many people just sitting in the lobby, because there were so many people there. People sitting out in the lobby, sitting in the hallways, sitting up. There was the entrance to the VIP had a bunch of tables where people could sit. That's where you come across the catwalk when you first walk in upstairs. People sitting all over those tables. They had their cards spread out. They were making deals. I stopped and looked at a couple of them. Those were very reasonably priced, because they didn't have to pay the huge fee to be a dealer there, so they were more nimble. I did not make any of the trade nights. I wanted to go Friday night. I was planning on going Friday night, and then Xavier, my 9-year-old, tuckered out with all the walking, and he was like, "Dad, my feet hurt. My legs hurt. Can we please go home?" So I did not stay for the trade night Friday night. But I've already got plans. So things that I plan on doing differently next year. When it's in Chicago, it's only 2 hours from my house, so I drive back and forth. My plan is next year I am not going to do that. I'm, for the first time ever, going to get a hotel room for the national. I'm not going to stay all 4 nights. I don't want to spend a whole week of vacation for the national. The national's cool, but I can get done what I need to get done in 2 or 3 days. So I'll probably get a hotel room for 2 nights. I'll try and do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come down Thursday night, stay overnight Thursday night, Friday night, come home Saturday. I think that's my plan. I did not do the VIP this year, and I think that was a mistake. The extra money that it would have saved me, being able to get into the VIP lounge. If I could have had that, I could have maybe got my son to sit down for a little bit, got him some refreshments, and I maybe could have talked him into staying for the trade night. So I don't so much, I've seen a few people selling off the goodies from the VIP bag. It sounds like the packs in there are for $50 to $75 a piece. So you could probably sell that stuff off and it'll pay for your VIP ticket. Maybe even make a little bit of money. That is not why I'm looking for the VIP. I'm looking for the early entrance. I'm looking for the VIP lounge. And I think I'm gonna do a hotel room next year, and I will probably do like I did 2 years ago, and I will have some cards to take to the trade night, either to sell or to trade to liquefy. Because if you had cards of the quarterbacks, the last year's quarterback crop, there
That's
wasn't that on the show floor. I think the repackers cleaned it all out early in the show. But I know Mark, one of the followers of the channel here that I talked to a lot, he said the one trade night he went to, he had a whole bunch of the 5 different quarterbacks, and he cleared 5,500 net. And a guy walked up and took a repacker came up, took every card, and cleared $5,500 on the plays that we've been talking about on this channel of the quarterbacks. So he was very appreciative of that, and he turned a nice profit. So it was good to hear Mark making some big money. So I think that because that stuff gets cleared out early on the show floor, the play for next year will be to load up on the hot quarterbacks, the younger, even receivers or running backs, and to take that to the trade or sit lounge. So I walked through, I put 17,000 steps on Friday. I put 26,000 steps on Saturday, and I did not see every table that was there. Some were just too busy to get close to. Some didn't have cards; they were just memorabilia type things. It's that if you haven't been to a national, you really should try and get to one in your lifetime just to see what it's like. But don't come there anticipating that you're going to get a bunch of deals and steals. You are better off getting your deals and steals at local card shows. The national is an experience. You can make money at the national. A lot of people do. I think I'm going to I did go box bin diving on Saturday as well. I spent about 2 hours diving through bins. Early in the day, I had no success at it. Late in the day, I did pretty well. I ended up with about 32 cards that I plan on grading. We'll see how those turn out, but got them. Most of them I got for 50 cents to up to $2. And so we'll see how that turns out. But I was happy. That was a lot of fun. It was nice to sit down for a little bit and go through some boxes. But yeah, that was my experience at the National.
Next year, I'm going to go to a Cubs game. It's been on my bucket list, and I've never, but I'm going to buy my tickets when they go on sale, because I noticed that during the National, the scalpers had all the tickets, and it was like $150 for the crappy nosebleed seats, So I did go to the WNBA game Sunday night downtown with the Chicago, and that was fun. It was Marvel night, with the. And they had Angel Reese Marvel comic book posters, and they were just take them on the way out, and I grabbed 4 of them, and then they fit in my little box perfectly. So they're
that's nice.
I'll show you. They look cool, and they gave bobbleheads of a girl, Vandersloot. I think she's retired, but it was pretty neat.
Yeah, Angel Reese stuff sells well. Would have been cool if you could have got one of them autographed.
Yeah. She was hurt. She didn't even play.
Oh, she didn't?
No. And they got their butts stomped by Phoenix.
Well, they're not very good, so
yeah.
That's not too surprising. But How did your photographs go of the soccer game that you had to go take pictures of?
It was great. It was my first Division I soccer game. They won 3-1. I didn't realize that they were ranked until a couple days ago, but they're number 6 in the nation, Arkansas.
Nice.
In a week and a half, Notre Dame comes in and they're number 2. But I'm working my freelance, and it looks like I'm going to be the official photographer for the University of Arkansas athletic department for soccer and women's basketball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll show you some pictures later.
Yeah, that's great. Well, all right. That's kind of the recap of the National, how things went. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, I don't know when you'll be watching this. Most of the views on YouTube seem to happen at a later time. We don't get a ton of live views. We get most of our views afterwards when we post it. But feel free to reach out to Bo or myself. He's at Bodini Cards on Instagram, and I'm of course Chalks Cards. And we'd love to hear any comments you got, talk to you, answer questions, anything like that. 2 weeks, hopefully, right, Bo? We'll be back. It's
Sure.
Although that could be that should work. I moved my son into Concordia University on the 21st of this month, which I think is a Thursday. So the 20th would be Wednesday. So the 20th should work to come back and do a show before I head off with my oldest. It's going to be a bittersweet moment. Excited for him, but yet he's my rock. He's my go-to. He's my best buddy. So
I thought both your sons seem really cool.
I'm going to miss him in the house. Yeah, that's great. Xavier wanted to come on today and show off his Pokemon, but it's 90 degrees here in Wisconsin today, very humid, and he is in the swimming pool. So, so I told him he could do it some other time. So in the future, we'll have I don't know if we'll have Lorelei too, but we'll for sure have Xavier coming on the show to show off some Pokemon. I don't know if I told you this or not, but so my son and I bought those 22 Bowman draft boxes to rip and have a box battle. And then Xavier bought that Pokemon box. So we paid, the list price of the boxes were $135 a piece, and the list price of the Pokemon was $100. We were able to get them all for a little bit less than that, but the boxes were a complete total bust. We ended up with, we figure about $70 worth of cards for the out of the Bowman draft, complete total. If it wasn't for a Mizorowski base chrome and a Drew Gilbert refractor to $4.99, those boxes would have been really bad. We did hit one. I believe there was one auto in there, but it was a nobody. Maybe it might not have been an auto. I don't remember. That was a week ago. It's lots happened since then. But Xavier opens up his Pokemon. I don't know much about the Pokemon, but he's like, Dad, this one's good, and this one's good, and this one's good. The kid had an eye for Pokemon. We're walking up and down the aisles, and he's like, Dad. I don't know how he was able to spot all the Pokemon on those tables through all the people, but I don't think we missed a table with Pokemon. If that was there, he sniffed it out. But we got that box for $80, and after we comped out the 9 cards that he thought were the best cards, about $160 worth of Pokemon cards. Nice. So I said to Harley John, I said, we did this all wrong. We should have bought more Pokemon because it would have been a better return on investment. So we might be buying Pokemon boxes to break next year for the box battle between me and my son. But it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I can't say enough good things about the National. The air conditioning upgrade was great. The temperature was great. The Wi-Fi, worked fantastic. Never had a problem with the Wi-Fi. So job well done to the National Committee. Look forward to the changes and the updates and things that they do bigger and better for next year. And until then, we'll talk to you guys. We'll see you all later. You got anything else, Bo, or are you good to go?
I'm good to go.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.